What's up everyone? Today I'm going to be starting a reading vlog. A lot of you actually requested this vlog in my February TBR because the book just sounds absolutely amazing. So I am here to start the book and give you a reading vlog, and hopefully, I'm really hoping this is a 5-star, honestly. So the book that I'm gonna be reading in this vlog is A Day Like This. This is by the author Kelly McNeil. This was recommended to me by a patron, and I am just so incredibly excited to read it because it does sound like it's gonna be exactly something that I love. I'm going to just read the back for you guys since I obviously haven't read it yet, so I'm not sure exactly what it's about. It says, Annie has everything: a beautiful house, a loving husband, and an adorable daughter. It's a day like any other when she takes Hannah to the pediatrician until she wakes hours later from a car accident. When she asks for her daughter, confused doctors tell Annie that Hannah never existed. In fact, nothing after waking from the crash is the same as Annie remembers. 5 happy years of her life apparently never happened. The reason that I think I'm going to love this is I actually really enjoy like an amnesia trope. I'm not exactly sure if that's what's happening here, but I also enjoy any type of like time travel or alternate reality. Again, I'm not sure if that's what's happening here, but just this like vibe of knowing that like she thought she had a daughter, but I guess she doesn't have a daughter. I don't know. Any type of like messing with your mind, I really enjoy, both in movies and in books. And I feel like this is going to be emotional because of that, and I love emotional reads. There's a little bit more of this synopsis that does say that her marriage is ending. And if you didn't watch my romance recommendations video that I just put up last week, I talked about how in romances, I really love like the marriage in trouble trope, like Rocky Marriage trope, just because it's so emotional. I feel like it's very realistic. I feel like as a married woman, I can relate better to that. Not that my marriage is in trouble, but I can like, you know, feel for these characters because of being in a marriage myself. I'm not exactly sure what this book falls into, if it's going to be a romance or not. All of the things are pointing to me liking it. I'm gonna go ahead and start it on audio. I found it on Scribd. I couldn't find it like on Libby, but thankfully it is available on Scribd. So we're gonna start it on there. Today is just like a rainy, dreary day. It has been like that a lot recently here. I live in Virginia, and this winter has just been really disgusting. My main goal today, I have a bunch of TBR cards that I need to create and get sent out because I have an Etsy shop where I make my TBR game that you guys see me play at the beginning of the month. Let's go ahead and start listening to the book, and I will update you with my thoughts throughout the day. I don't know if I'm reading the entire book today, but tomorrow I'll be like cleaning my house. Fridays are like my deep clean and like my self-care shower and stuff. So there should be footage tomorrow that you guys might want to watch anyway if I don't get all of this read. So it is 7:30 at night. Obviously I failed at vlogging today. I thought I was going to kind of be productive and get some stuff done. It has been one of those pregnancy days where the fatigue just kind of hits me out of nowhere. I did get some card orders done earlier today, but then I just got really tired in the afternoon, and I decided to not even cook dinner and just do leftovers for dinner. And I have been laying on the sofa watching TikTok the last few hours and waiting for Alvin to get home. But I did listen to 21% of A Day Like This while I was working on my cards, and this book is absolutely amazing so far. I am really enjoying it, and I almost like kind of want to savor it, which is one of the reasons why I didn't like continue reading it today, because I do want to clean the house tomorrow and I wanted to be able to listen to the audio while I'm like cleaning and doing some stuff tomorrow. I feel like the story has been very fast-paced so far and not slow, which I am super appreciative for, because I feel like sometimes like if a book isn't really a thriller, sometimes it can be slow like getting into the story and kind of figuring out what it's about. But we start out with a scene with Annie Annie, who is the mom, and her daughter is 5, whose name is Hannah. And we hear about like the husband, I think he's on like a work trip somewhere traveling, and he's not able to come home, and Hannah has a fever, so her mom is going to drive her to like the hospital to like check on her fever and stuff. She ends up getting in a car accident during that, and when she wakes up, then she's like asking where Hannah is, and everyone is like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't have a daughter. And from there on, we actually see like there are a lot of parts of her life that are different than what we knew in the beginning of the story. So even like her and her husband are separated. They don't live in the same house that we thought that they lived in. There's like all of these details that are so different, and the problem is that like Annie doesn't know any of this stuff. Like, she is like, okay, like let's go home, and her husband is like, what home? Like, what home are you even talking about? And she's like, the yellow home that we live in. And he's like, no, like we don't live there anymore. They even like look up the hospital records, and there is no record of her giving birth. There is a record of her having a miscarriage at 5 months. And so I think that's where the trauma is coming from. We don't actually know for certain because this is just mentioned like in the beginning, but I think that this is going to be trauma based for her, and maybe somehow her mind blocked out the last like few years. But I also don't know how she would have made up like 5 years worth of exact details of a life that is like totally different from her real life. So I'm not incredibly sure, but it is extremely emotional, and I just can't imagine like how crazy you would feel if you woke up from something like that, and this whole like 5 years of life that you thought that you were living in, everyone is telling you that like things are completely different from that. Like, it's not like she just doesn't have a daughter. It's like every single thing is different from what she had been imagining, I guess. So I'm really curious to see where the rest of the book goes. Like I said, I'm only 21% in, and so I feel like I have a lot more like emotion to go through, and I kind of hope that maybe it'll be a little bit of backpedaling so we can see like what went wrong in certain places, and like why things are different from the life that she was, I don't know, dreaming, living, whatever it would be. But I'm really, really enjoying it right now, which is always great. Like, I am always glad when there's a book that I really enjoy. Hello, good morning. So today is a new day. It's a Friday. I love Fridays. I actually really love Fridays and Mondays. I know I'm a weirdo, but I love Friday because Friday is the day that I like clean the whole house, because Alvin usually has off during at least Saturdays. Sometimes he does have the whole weekend off, just depending upon how busy work is. But I really like cleaning the house like while he's at work on Friday. I wash our sheets, I wash our towels, I sweep and mop, I do all of the like stuff to have a clean house. And I'm going to make a fresh homemade dinner tonight, the spatchcock chicken, scalloped potatoes, green beans. I'm feeling like I have a lot of energy. It's probably also because I'm in a really good mood today, because I got my maternity photos back and they just look so good. I feel like a lot of times I'm like my worst critic, because I'll like look at myself in a photo and I'm like, ew, like I didn't realize I looked like that. Like, why do I look like that? But like these photos are so good, and I feel like so good about myself, especially being pregnant. Like they're just so good. So that put me in a really good mood. I'm drinking a cup of coffee, and I'm actually just going to stay in my pajamas while I clean the house, because I always do my cleaning first. And then when I'm finished with my cleaning, I always relax with kind of like a long self-care shower. So I do like my body scrubbing and my hair mask, and after my shower I put like on all my millions of belly lotions and body butters and all of that stuff that you always have to put on. So then I'll put on comfy clothes later. And I do have a little bit of card orders left to do, but I'm pretty sure I can get all of this done today. And Alvin and I did not get to watch Wakanda Forever last night because he came home later than he expected. So I think we're planning on it for tonight, because he thinks that he will definitely be able to come home early tonight, because he actually went in very early this morning, like before I even was awake. My plan is to finish my book today, which I am also very excited about, because I think that I will be able to do that, and I think I'm going to enjoy it while I do it. But I did get some book mail, just one book. I do something called a read of the month. My patrons for Patreon, usually one of them becomes patron of the month through like a random generator, and my friend Brandy became patron of the month. And so one of the things that she gets to do as patron of the month is she gets to pick a book from my wish list or my like library TBR to send to me. I reimburse them because I mean, it's just like a way to surprise myself. And I just opened it. I actually opened it with my patrons. And so she wrote a little note and she said, "This book was so good, I couldn't resist having you read it too. It's such a good domestic thriller and those are so hard to find. I really hope you enjoy it as much as I did." And so she picked No One Knows by J.T. Ellison. So this is technically my read of the month for February. And what that means is that I have to read this in February, or if I don't get a chance to read it, then I have to add it to my TBR for the next month. And that's just to prevent me from buying a whole bunch of books. Like, it's kind of like what I do for my Aardvark subscription, where I read an Aardvark book every month. It's just to keep me accountable, so that way I'm not constantly buying books and never reading them. So that is what my read of the month is. And this book says, "Can the perfect life conceal the perfect murder? The day Aubrey's husband is declared dead, 5 years after he went missing, should have brought her closure, but she doesn't want closure, she wants her husband back. Is that why she thinks she's seeing him around every corner and in the mysterious yet strangely familiar man who suddenly appeared in her life?" I do love domestic thrillers, so I am very excited, and I think this cover is so good. I've seen like a different cover, I don't know, maybe that's on the hardback, but like this one is very, very, very pretty. It is almost 10 o'clock because I've been just wasting time looking at maternity photos and drinking my coffee and talking to my patrons and all that kind of stuff. So we need to get started with our cleaning and with our audiobook. I think last night I said I was 21% in, so I'll try and maybe do a few updates before I would like actually finish it so I can give you my thoughts throughout. But let's go ahead, we'll start by putting a load of laundry in. Probably do my white load of laundry first. It's kind of nice, like I have white sheets, white towels, and even like white bath rugs, mats, whatever you wanna call that. And so it's really easy because I can throw that all together in one load and add like my OxyClean White Revive and like all that stuff. And then it's just easy, you know, to like get it all clean and it's all white and I don't have to worry about like trying to sort things out and stuff. So I'm gonna start that, and then I'll do a load of like regular laundry after the white load is done. That's probably all I have to do because usually midweek, like Monday, Tuesday, I usually do a midweek like floor sweep and quick like mop or Swiffer because having a dog, our floors get so dirty. And then that's usually when I do like a midweek, just one load of laundry. I throw me and Alvin's clothes together. So I should only have to do a white load and then one like regular dark load, I guess, if you wanna say, and then I'll fold that stuff and put that away throughout while I'm like cleaning and doing other things. it is the afternoon, 2:46. I've actually been sitting here on my phone for a little bit. I finished all my cleaning and my shower and everything pretty much around 2 o'clock. I have one more load of laundry that is currently in the washing machine that I want to like fold and put away, obviously later when it's finished. I am about to work on TBR cards so I can get my orders out today, and then that way I don't have to worry about them on the weekend and I can just spend time with Alvin. I was listening to my audiobook and I'm officially 51% into a day like this. So I only have 4 hours left, it says, and I am really enjoying it still. I'm actually kind of surprised that there's 50% left because I don't really know where they're gonna go with the story. So far, what I've been listening to that's different from what I talked about last night is the fact that Annie is trying to learn more about her current life. Her sister comes to like help her out and she's trying to figure out like which memories are like ones she made up and just kind of like living her current life at the moment. She still obviously keeps thinking that like Hannah and all of the memories that she had were true, and she keeps trying to prove that to people like throughout what we're reading. But the other thing is I am not sure if there's going to be a twist in this book, because there has been little hints and stuff of her husband being sneaky about some things. And so I'm like kind of wondering if we're gonna be thrown for a loop. But they do keep talking about her mom, like Annie and her sister, their mom, I guess had kind of committed suicide. And I guess their mom like saw things all the time and like would say that their cat ran away and they never had a cat and like stuff like that. So I'm not sure exactly what this is going to be like. If it is like a mental illness of some sort, if it's true, if it's all in her head, if people are trying to like mess with her. I don't know. It just, I'm not sure. There has been a lot of talk about infertility in this book, which I really appreciate because I definitely feel a lot of the same feelings that the main character Annie is going through. I actually feel like currently me reading this now, being pregnant, I almost feel like I could relate to it better than even if I read it before getting pregnant. Like even though I dealt with infertility for so long and the character dealt with infertility, I feel like because she thought she had a child for 5 years and now she's kind of like grieving that child that she never had, I feel like I almost can feel like her emotions more so with me thinking like, oh my gosh, like what if that happened to me? What if I would wake up tomorrow and I'm actually not pregnant? Or I just imagined the whole thing, like that's how bad I wanted it. And that I kind of feel that way sometimes because there are so many days where I am literally sitting here and I'm like, I'm pregnant. Like my dream that I have been wanting for my whole entire life, that I have been struggling with for 7 years, I am pregnant. Like this is real. This is true. I'm going to be holding a baby in 2 months. It's just so crazy. And so I can't imagine if this whole time you thought that you had like a 5-year-old that you raised and you have all these memories, and then just the next day, poof, all of that is gone, including, you know, the relationship that you thought that you had with your husband. It's just very heartbreaking and very emotional, but I am really, really loving it and enjoying it. I'm going to continue listening and work on my cards. I guess as soon as I finish the cards, I need to spatchcock the chicken and get those in. Hopefully we can relax and watch a movie and stuff tonight. I just love the weekends because I get to spend the most time with Alvin. Book and I am going to rate it 4 stars. But I do want to let you guys know that if you are not fans of books like The Midnight Library, maybe an Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Dark Matter, Out of Order, those types of books, then I would not pick up this book because you will be disappointed if you can't really suspend your belief with like alternate reality and time travel books. I feel like it's important for me to say that because if you are someone that takes things very literally, I could see you being very disappointed in this book if you didn't realize that there was going to be like a magical realism or fantastical type of element. And so I do think that that is important, knowing that going in without actually knowing like everything that happens within the storyline. Even though I like realistic books, I actually love the trope of time travel and alternate reality, and I'm always looking for new books that I'm going to enjoy with those elements in them, just because in my head I feel like I can think about it very realistically. Even though I don't believe that there's like alternate realities out there, it still is a fun concept to think like what would happen if there was an alternate reality. I think that there's like a very important message with reading books like that, because you think about how happy am I and how content am I in this life. There could be a life where maybe I have more things that I would want, but then there's also the potential of having a life where you don't have a lot of things that you want. And so what I really liked about this book is that you might not realize how much you really enjoy one specific life until you would not have that anymore. So for instance, Annie, she really enjoyed like being a mom and having a 5-year-old, but then waking up and realizing that she doesn't have a 5-year-old, even though she was a very popular artist, it just wasn't the same. You know, she really enjoyed just not being a popular artist, maybe struggling for money, but being a mom compared to being like very successful. And so, you know, you think about that just in your normal day to day, and I really love thinking about that. I think that a book that does it really well is maybe In Another Life. You see that character's life like split into two, but it's really hard to determine like which life really is better, because there's pros and cons to both lives, which I feel like if we were in that situation, like if there really was an alternate reality, I feel like we would kind of feel the same way. There could be certain lives that are as good as the one that we're currently in. So that's why I like these books, is just because of the thought process that goes into them and thinking about what you would do in that situation, or how you even like look at those in a different perspective. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. It was not quite a 5-star read for me. I do think that the ending was a little bit too much tied up in a very pretty bow. You know, those are things that I like to see a little bit more struggles. Maybe not everyone get everything that they want in the end. But other than that, I thought it was a really great emotional read. I thought it had a really good storyline. It kept me on the edge of my feet. And I love the extra themes of like infertility and other topics that were talked about. So if you enjoy those other books that I talked about, I think that you would really enjoy this one. And I think it's worth picking up or even just listening to the audiobook. But that's all for this video. I will see you all in another video soon. Bye everyone.